unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen of the Kick-Ass Nation? It is I, Christopher Rausch, your host of this here Raw and Unscripted podcast. Thank you guys for joining us, whether you're live on the video cast, as we do every single Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, California time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or you guys are listening to us on the audio podcast. Thank you so much for joining us. I appreciate you so much. It is unbelievable the reach that we are having with this podcast and how many countries we are in right now. So I thank you from the bottom of my heart for sharing this out to your networks, sharing this out to your friends, because my intention here every single week for the last 7 years, it's hard to believe, started it in 2019, 2 weeks before my back surgery, but it's been my intention every single week, every single year, to bring you guys the opportunity to see your life differently, your past, your present, and your future, to shift your perspectives, to shift your beliefs, to shift your attitude from being a victim-oriented person who thinks life is poor me and why me, and shifting that to why not me. This is all about ditching your excuses in favor of results. This is all about recognizing that everything that has happened in your life and everything that is happening in your life right up until this very moment is happening for you. Now, you could choose to be pissed off and mad and blame everybody and mire in your own crap, or you can choose to realize, excuse me, that you are intended to go through all these challenges because on the other side of them, there's greatness. On the other side of them, there is happiness, and it's not perfect and it's not easy. Trust me. I have a tattoo on my arm that says, "What doesn't kill me only makes me stronger." I had to tattoo it on my arm in 2016 when I was going through some stuff after already been through a lot of stuff, but I had to put it on my arm to remind myself that sometimes when shit is tough, that's when we rise. That's when we sit there and say, you know what? How do you make a muscle? You tear it down and you build it back up. And that's what we do here every single week on the Raw Unscripted show. So tonight is going to be an exceptional broadcast because it's a 1 of 2 part series. And to the best of my knowledge, I've only done a few of those over the course of this podcast. So this is part 1. Next week will be part 2. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Last week, though, I'm getting a lot of people. Excuse me. I just ate dinner, and when I eat before I do this, I have a hard time talking. But I'm here with my son, and I'm solo dad, so I wanted to make him dinner. So we had macaroni and cheese, and he helped me make it. It was kind of cool. But last week we talked about self-sabotage. Holy crap! You guys have been ringing my phone off the hook, saying, "Chris, that's what I needed to hear." Because we do. We shoot ourselves in the foot. I say we shoot ourselves in the dick, ladies included. We just do. And we don't realize how we do it. But last week we broke it down. What I talked about last week is why self-sabotage is actually a learned survival pattern. It is. In case you guys didn't hear the show, go back and listen to it. How childhood conditioning shapes our adult behavior. Because everything that usually happens in our life, our beliefs are created by the time we're 7 years old. Our beliefs about ourselves, our self-worth, and nobody ever helps us correct that. And that's what I do here, is I help you go back to that little boy, that little girl, and we adjust some of those beliefs. When people said you weren't smart enough, you weren't pretty enough, you weren't talented enough, that has shaped your behavior, and you have self-sabotaged yourself ever since. We talked about the 10 most common forms of self-sabotage. We talked about how to catch yourself in the moment, how to break that cycle. Oh, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to stop right now. Because the key is awareness. The key is sitting there saying, you know what? I'm doing it again. Whatever it might be, I'm going to stop and I'm going to redirect. Talked about a 4-step process to break the pattern immediately. And finally, we talked about how to rebuild your identity and self-trust. And so I thought, when I finished out that episode, I promised you guys here in 2026, we were going to go deeper. We were going to go deeper into specific subjects, because I've done a lot of overviews and collaboration topics. We've talked about identity in the past. We talked about sabotage in the past. We talked about all sorts of different things related to our success with ourselves and with our human brothers and sisters. But tonight we're going to go into our identity, because I thought when I gave that last tip, how to rebuild identity, we haven't really dove deep into that. So I went back and I Googled my notes. I searched through my notes and really haven't talked about how to show specifically about identity. We've done that on the Unfiltered Experience, the show I did with Scott Goyette, that surprisingly is still getting quite a few downloads. We haven't done that show in probably a year or two, I think, but it's still getting downloads. People are still digging it. People are still commenting on the Facebook group. But let's get into the conversation tonight about identity. What's up? Oh, we got some people in the house. What's up? What's up? What's up? We got Robert Broker in the house. Says hi, Christopher Rausch. Hello. We are live tonight. Even though my son's here, I was like, I should probably record it. But we got Ray Secret Ghost in the house. Thank you, Ray, for being here. We got the food plane in the house. What's up? DS says hello, Christopher. DS here. Good to see you again. Good to see you. It's hard to believe that these are like 7 days apart. It's crazy, 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 crazy. So thank you for being here. I got Jacqueline in the house. Thank you, Jacqueline, my Irish sister from another mister. Food plane says yes, very important topic. It is. And that's why it's a 2-part topic. When I was putting the show together, I had so much material. I thought, man, this is going to be a 2-hour show. And I'm like, well, let's just make it a 2-part show. And do that. So let's just jump right into it. Feel free, as always, you guys that are live on the video cast, ask questions. I'd love your questions about this. I'm going to try to cover quite a bit. So let's just get into it. We're talking about something that we truly never really stop to consider. We're always in survival mode. We're always going, doing. And oftentimes we identify ourselves by our occupation. What is the first question most of us ask? Like, what do you do? You know, I am a doctor. I am an architect. I am a chef. I am a coach. But we never really stop to ask ourselves, who are we really? Not in our job title, not in our role, not in our accomplishments, not in our trauma, not in our relationship status, not in what your parents told you to be, not what society conditioned you to become, depending on your ethnicity, your religious background, any number of different labels, not who you had to pretend to be but to survive, but who are you really? Like when you think about who am I? And we talked about that last week as well. Who am I? Am I a survivor? Am I a thriver? Am I somebody who kicks ass? Because people are not actually having a life. They're having a crisis. They're having an identity crisis. And now more than ever, somebody asked me the other day, like, how's your coaching going? And I said, it's going great. And they said, you know, what are people coming to you for? Because my coaching has ebbed and flowed over the years. I've been doing this now for 20 plus years. I can't remember exactly. But I've done relationship coaching. I've done career coaching. Obviously, I do mindset coaching. That's my big thing, is reshaping your mind. But right now, people are coming to me because they have lost their sense of identity. They don't know who they are after their kids have gone off to school. They don't know who they are because they have retired from their occupation. They've sold their business. They don't know who they are because now they're getting into the next generation of life. They're in their 50s. They're in their 60s. They're like, Chris, you know, I was an accountant. I was a CEO. I was this. I was that. And now you find that you're not that anymore because you can't identify with that. Like I was a corporate dude for up until 2019. And it's so crazy. Like when I sit down to do a spreadsheet or I sit down now to do an email or something like that, it's like, that was a former lifetime of mine. But for a long time, I was the director of operations. I did this. I was the leadership, blah, blah, blah. I managed these areas. I did these things. But somewhere along the way, many of us built our identity around survival, approval, achievement, pain, roles, expectations, fear, fitting in, and emotional protection, really. And then one day we wake up exhausted, disconnected, anxious, lost, overwhelmed, emotionally numb, and we quietly ask ourselves, I don't even recognize myself anymore. Or maybe, have I ever truly been myself? I'm just going to pause right there. Have I ever truly been myself? And I know, I'll tell you a quick story before we go on. Obviously, I look the way I do. For those of you guys listening on the podcast, you've seen the podcast JPEG, I guess, if you will. I wear a hat and a bandana on backwards. I have tattoos. I wear Vans. I look like a rocker, biker, whatever. People ask me all the time, are you in a band? You look like a musician. And I wasn't always this way. I was a suit and tie speaker. I walked around and I tried to fit in with what everybody else expected me to look like and sound like and everything, and not swear and all this different stuff. And I came off stage at a speaker event. And I looked around and everybody looked like me, and everybody sounded like me, or I sounded like everybody else. We all did the little triangle pose. Well, thank you for coming here today. We're going to talk about motivation. Did you know that motivation, saying some fucking quote or like that? I came off stage and I'm like, that's not me. That's not me. No, I am a rocker. I'm a biker. I'm a smartass. I hate sweating. People ask me about the bandana. Like, why do you wear it? And I say, because I hate sweating. I've worn the bandana for most of my life. I've worn a hat on backwards most of my life, even when I had hair and long hair. You can see, I could show you pictures, not the combination, because that's who I am now. That's the combination I am now. But I said back in 2013, I said, if I had my wish, I would wear a bandana on stage because I cannot stand sweating. I don't want to wear a suit anymore because I don't like being up there all uncomfortable. It's distracting me from my message. And plus, by the way, I don't want to have to think about every single fucking word I say, because sometimes I say fuck 7 times in one sentence. And if it bugs you, that's okay. So I've learned to be me, unapologetically me. Sure, there's times when I still have to have my filters and I still compose myself for the surroundings that I'm in, but for the most part, I'm me. What you see is what you get. And I know that the conversation tonight is going to hit some nerves, because some of you listening may realize the personality that you defended your entire life may actually be a survival strategy, that the version that you became successful may also have you deeply exhausted. The strong version of you may secretly be terrified of vulnerability. Who am I without the drink? Who am I without the drugs? Who am I without the womanizing? Who am I without the shopping? Who am I without the complaining? Who am I without the blaming? Because it goes back to that self-protection situation. And I was a drinker for a while, and sure enough, it served me until it didn't. And I was very prescriptive in who I needed to be for everybody else. And it worked for me. I made money. I made relationships. I started businesses. I was successful traveling around the world. But you got to think, the independent version of you may simply be the one who learned not to trust people. And the funny version of you may have learned that humor was safer than honesty. Look at comedians. You guys know comedians have been honest enough now. We talk about mental health a lot. Ray's on the show. He advocates for mental health. I was the funny guy. And as long as I was being funny, I kept the focus away from my inadequacies. I kept the focus away from my vulnerabilities, as long as I was making you laugh. And then suddenly one day I was like, what would it be like if I didn't have to hide behind that? And there's so many comedians out there who hide behind the humor, but they struggle with mental illness. Like the cases are all over the place. How many comedians are really truly happy? They're happy for that 45 minutes on stage. So think about this. All of this doesn't make you broken. Makes you human. Makes me human. You're human. We're all human. Nobody fucking gave us a book that says, here you go, Chris, here's how to navigate life. And the thing that upsets me a lot, and I'm so thankful my son has me, because we learn about algebra, and we learn how to tell time, and we learn about the metric system, and we learn about all this shit, but nobody ever sits down and says, okay, here's how to decipher your feelings. Here's what it means when you're angry. Here's what it means when you're vulnerable. Here's what it means when you're comparing yourself. Nobody ever really does that. And so, like I said, our beliefs are shaped when we're little kids. If you go back, if you think about what's upsetting you now and troubling you now, it probably goes back to an event that started it all off. Every time I coach somebody, within the first 5 sessions, I talk about their childhood. And I'm like, tell me about the most traumatic experience in your childhood. And some people say, oh, where do I start? I'm like, start with one. And then we find out there's 13 different things that have been traumatizing in their childhood. And I'm like, have you healed from that? Have you seen a therapist for that? No. How have you managed that all these years? Suppress it, repress it, express it in negative ways. So tonight we're going to go deep. We're going to unpack how identity is created in childhood, how survival patterns shape personality, the roles we unconsciously play in our families, how parents, school, religion, culture, society program our identity. Massive. God. Speaking of God, how many people who have come to me for coaching who were screwed up because of their religion? The thing that's supposed to give them safety and security and certainty screwed them up. Oh, I was told this. I was told to believe this. If you didn't do this, if you did this, you're going to hell. How many people came to me and thought they were going to hell as a kid? Like, you're going to hell if you masturbate. No, it's a fucking natural thing to do. It's a natural thing to do. Everybody does it. When you shake somebody's hand, go, hi, you're a fucking masturbator. We all are. It's okay. It's okay. We have that common. We're going to talk about how pain becomes a part of someone's identity. Oh, that is huge. That was huge for me too. Why people lose themselves in roles like parent and provider, leader, spouse, entrepreneur, and caretaker. Why social media and modern culture is creating identity confusion faster than ever before. The young generation, Generation Z, man, they're waking the fuck up. They're waking up. They're buying albums. They're buying cassettes. They're buying CDs. I guess iPods, the little digital iPods are making a comeback. Turning off social media is pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about that. I mean, I see so many kids walking around with their fucking phone in their face, like not even walking where they're going. This is my new pet peeve. Everybody at the fucking gym, not everybody. A lot of people at the gym are on their phone while they're working out. Like, I'm on the phone when I'm doing my cardio half the time because I'm doing work or I'm researching something, but people are sitting there doing their leg lifts. I'm like, really? Can't put that fucking thing down? We're also going to talk about why so many people feel secretly disconnected from themselves. Like, one of the questions I ask people, do you feel connected to yourself? Fuck, Chris, I don't even know who I am anymore. So many times I hear that. So many times. I don't even know who I am. Like, what would it feel like if you like felt comfortable with you? If you know who you are? Yeah. And it's not about blame, ladies and gentlemen. It's not about blaming society. It's not blaming your past. It's not about blaming your parents, not about blaming God. It's about awareness. Because you can't consciously become who you're meant to be until you understand what survival taught you to become first. And so I'm going to tell you honestly, this conversation has hit me hard personally too, because when you really start peeling back the layers and you begin to realize how much of your life has been spent performing, performing me. Oh, can you imagine that? Me performing, protecting, proving, surviving, instead of just being. Like, when's the last time you were quiet? When's the last time you just had nothing on and enjoyed peace and quiet and just sat there and thought? I know so many people are so distracted that it kills them. Like, can you sit quietly for 10 minutes and just think? Can you meditate? Chris, I can't meditate. Well, if you keep telling yourself you can't, then you won't. But if you sit there and say, you know what? I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to count from 100 backwards, where I'm just going to sit and I'm just going to see the images that pop into my mind, whatever it might be. Just start being. Because let's just talk about what is identity. Okay. Let's just talk about that. What is Ray says sob CR. That was rock star shit. Well, thank you, Ray. I appreciate that, brother. It's all from the heart. I take notes and I have my little notes here. I'm not doing it totally raw and unscripted. So if you see my eyes moving, it's because I'm making sure that I stay on track. Jacqueline says the identity crisis I guess I had was no matter how good I was at caring, kind, loving, honest, truthful, it was never enough for some people. Yeah. And hurt people. And I know for me that once I decided to see my mother's life and see herself through her eyes, I had a ton of compassion. By the way, some of you guys keep asking, my book. It's just you and me, kid. It's just you and me, kid. It's just youandmekid.com. Please go there if you haven't. I know it's been 4 years in the making, but it's just youandmekid.com. Go in there and put your name and your email in there. I am working on it, actively doing the final edits. I am almost 2/3 the way through it, the final edits. And when I was writing that book, I decided, again, my identity. Oh, I was homeless. I was abused. I was this, I was that. And then I decided, like, what would it have been like to be my mom and gone through her life, through her lens of experience, through what it was to be a 4-year-old girl back in the 40s, And I started having a lot of empathy and compassion. I pulled out a picture of my mom and I looked at her as a young girl with blonde hair. And I thought, man, what dreams did you have? What hopes did you have before they got all fucked up? And she used to say I did the best I could with what I had. And I used to call bullshit on that. But in some respects, she really did, because if I walked in your shoes, guys, might I be like you? Might I be like the other person? Might I, hey, Nancy, what's up? Thank you for being here. Might I have been like somebody else? And when you start giving yourself permission to surrender the need to be right and the need to be validated and the need to whatever, it's pretty fucking cool where you get to this place of peace. And I can tell you, raising a hand, there was not a lot of peace in my life. There was a lot of accomplishment. There was a lot of drinking. There was a lot of sex. There was all sorts of stuff. And as long as I, like I just said, as long as I was performing, man, I was happy and I was getting the validation. Where was that word coming? Vagulation. That's a vagina adulation. I don't know. Something like that. I know Nancy's laughing because she's got a dirty mind like that. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. And Jacqueline says here, but I can be, any difference is I can be no different. That is how God rolled me. Yeah. You know, we are who we are. And as I was going to finish out staying before we continue on, is that I started reading all these books about inner peace, and I started reading about Buddhism, and I started doing all that, and I was reading it and I was comprehending it, but I wasn't embracing it. I wasn't ready to surrender that part of me, because there was so much safety and security in being Christopher Rausch, the director of operation, Christopher Rausch, the coach, Christopher Rausch, the whatever it might be. There was a lot of certainty in there. As long as I could control those aspects of my life, I didn't have to worry or wonder, or that vulnerability aspect. But once I started giving myself a break from alcohol, once I started really examining my relationships, once I started journaling, once I started reading different books, once I started getting around different people, once I started doing different shit, it was pretty incredible, the messages that I started to receive. Because when you stop being in front of everything, and you just sit there and you go, you know what? I'm pretty cool with being me. Definitely not perfect, but you know what? I was placed here to have this particular experience, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to free fall in that. And once I started embracing who I am, it was pretty incredible, the sense of security that I started to get, and the lack of need for validation and external appreciation and acknowledgments and stuff like that, because that's how I rated myself. As long as I was getting people saying, yeah, Chris, good job. As long as I was the person that got there first before everybody else at work and left after everybody else did, and I got the attaboys. I think I got 6 promotions in 8 years. Fucking busted my ass. So yeah. Yes. Nancy says here, applied knowledge is key. Ray says, you're killing it tonight. Got me laughing and learning. That's what's up, buddy. So let's jump into the details here. Again, a lot of people are consciously living from, or not living from their conscious identity. They're living from survival, conditioning, family programming, societal expectations, pain, fear, roles, approval, protection patterns. So let's just get into it. What is identity? Identity is the story you believe about yourself. The story you believe about yourself. The meaning you attach to yourself. What am I making in my coaching clients? Nancy's in my coaching group. My coaching clients know this. What am I making this to mean about me? It's one of my favorite questions. I just had that experience for myself a couple of times in the last 7 days. What am I making this to mean about me? I made an assumption. I forgot to share this in my group coaching class. I shared it with my coaching clients today, but I made an assumption. Was it Friday or Saturday? 2 different times. I made an assumption, and I let that thing carry on for an hour and a half before I clarified that assumption. And guess what? I was absolutely fucking wrong. But I spent an hour and a half. Most people spend months and years making assumptions and then not clarifying it, not validating it. But yeah, I sat there and made this assumption. I made this, and I'm like, what am I making this to mean about me? And then I asked the follow-up question. I'm like, what if it's not about me? What if it's about something completely disconnected from me? But I just spent an hour and a half of my life feeling sorry for myself, feeling shitty for myself, going back into old thought patterns and behaviors. And I'll tell you this, for people listening and watching that may be new to the show, oh, you're Chris, you're so positive and you're so upbeat and you're so energetic and you're so I am, thank you very much. And I have tools in my toolbox to be able to sit there and go, what question could I ask myself that would serve me better than the story I'm telling myself right now? What old identity, what old behavior, what old pattern am I just jump back into and swimming upstream going, no. Because I'll tell you guys, it's not, once you decide, it's not perfect. There are going to be opportunities. There's neural pathways in your brain, neuroplasticity. There's all these things that are going on that your old negative voice will pop back up and say, oh, see, Chris, you thought you were being off that you thought. And then all of a sudden you start telling yourself that old story again and it becomes familiar. And then all of a sudden you start getting into little patterns again. You pick up the bottle, you do this, you do that. All of a sudden you're not the person you were. And then people start treating you differently. And then you're like, what the fuck's wrong with everybody? I went through that with a coaching client, man, they were doing really good. And all of a sudden I'm like, what's going on here? And so we basically determined, I said, if this was a picture, how would you explain what you're feeling right now in a picture? And they said, I feel like I'm drowning. And I said, and drowning in what? I'm drowning in my insufficiencies. So let's talk about that. Also, identity is the role you think you play in the world. Again, I'm a father, I'm a dad, I'm this, I'm that. I have so many people right now that don't know what the fuck to do anymore because their kids are grown up and don't need them anymore. My buddy just talked about his kids joining the Coast Guard. He's 18 years old, moving to the other side of the country, joining the Coast Guard. Thanks, Dad. I'm going to go live my life. You taught me to be adventurous. You taught me to be independent. You taught me not to do the status quo. Kid's gone. Guess what? Dad's like, he says, I'm having a hard time breathing, Chris. I'm having a hard time breathing. And I said, all right, let's take a couple of those breaths. So let's talk about personality versus identity. Personality is how you tend to show up. Outgoing, funny, emotional, intense, quiet, driven. Personality, right? What's your personality? Identity is what you believe you are. So I love asking people, who are you? And 99% of the time, I'm a receptionist. I'm a this, I'm a that, I'm a mom, some sort of label. Or I said, let's dig deeper. I'm like, what do you believe you are? You get into the sticks of things and you're like, I'm not enough. I'm the strong one. I'm only lovable when I perform. That's one that I put on there. I'm the responsible one. Holy shit. From fucking like 9 years old, if not sooner, I had to be so responsible. And I got that out of a therapy appointment. The lady asked me, she goes, when did you stop being a kid? And I'm like, I did have a childhood. So I wasn't that bad. It wasn't all bad. I said, but around 9, 10, 11, 12, mom's husband left. My sister left. More abuse. Mom lost her job, and then at 13 fucking became homeless. And then there was that journey. I am the screw up. I always get abandoned. I'm never good enough. Put the labels. You could type it in the chat. What was your situation? What's maybe your situation right now? Publicly declare it. Don't be ashamed. Fucking own that shit. Like, I am this. I am experiencing this. So a lot of what we call personality is actually protection. It's adaptation. It's really emotional survival. And putting this together and thinking about this for myself, there was a lot of proud moments, and there's still opportunities to heal, because sometimes I sit there and I think I've gotten past something, but I'm like, okay, am I just telling myself that story? But have I really healed it? And that's, I know Nancy can appreciate this, and maybe somebody else, you guys can do it. That's why I'm keenly interested in plant medicine, so that I can shut my brain off. That's, and oh shit, this is what it's like not to fucking have your conscious mind going at all times. This is what it's like to free fall. So independent may actually mean you're vulnerably felt unsafe, that you learn not to trust people. If you're funny, actually meant that humor protected you from pain. Comedy diffused tension. can't tell you how many times I was funny that diffused shit. How many times I broke up fights because I was funny. Not my fight, but somebody else's. People pleaser. Maybe that you love felt unconditional to you. People pleaser. Oh, I got to please everybody. Even the people that don't fucking matter. I got to please everybody. And then I'm exhausted. And then maybe I'll get a few crumbs. High achiever. Trying to earn your worthiness. Boy, did I have some baggage around that. Still do to a certain extent. Like, man, I feel guilty if I'm going to play video games before 5 o'clock, before I've done all sorts of other things. But actually this last Saturday, at 2 o'clock, I just sat there and played video games. I'm into racing now, and I just fucking sat there and I forced myself. It's all, I don't know. I asked my therapist, like, is it still good if I have to force myself and try to convince myself that I can do it? She goes, at least there's steps, Chris. So all of this might apply to you if you constantly feel the need to prove yourself. If resting makes you feel uncomfortable, which it does for me sometimes, it did. Asking for help feels weak, that you avoid vulnerability, or you perform constantly. You feel like you're constantly doing, Chris, I'm so exhausted. I feel like I'm always going. I feel like I'm always overwhelmed. And I'm like, who's putting this shit on your plate? Who's putting this on your plate? Me. But I have to do the laundry. I have to make the dinner. No, you don't. That's a story you're telling yourself. Again, that's a story you're telling yourself. I still remember this lady, I think Tina, it was years ago, but she's like, oh, Chris, I don't have time. And I said, what, tell me about your day. What really stuck out is her intensity when she said she had to prepare the meals and do the shopping and do the laundry. And I said, so can we just take a beat for a second? She says, yeah. And I said, take a couple of deep breaths. And I said, imagine this. You go out and you get in your car to go do the grocery shopping. And you pull out in the intersection out of your residential neighborhood. And unbeknownst to you, a fucking school bus, wham, nails you. Poof. Tina gone. You're dead. Sad, right? Yeah, definitely. Does your family fucking eat and get clean clothes ever again? Or do they just sit there and go, man, mom, we're not gonna. No. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, you guys know, if anybody who's watched the show for a while, I get real, I get raw, I get blunt. I've been saying that a lot lately. You're gonna die. I'm gonna die. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen sooner than later. Especially if you're just existing in life, hoping, wishing, and praying that someday you're going to start living it. So here's some questions for you already. I want you to write these down. Who did I need to become to feel safe? Who did I need to become to feel safe? If you were the older brother, I could usually spot the older brother, older sister syndrome. I can usually spot the younger one. I can usually spot the middle one. There are a lot of patterns around that. Who did I need to become to feel safe? Oh, I had to protect my brothers and sisters because dad was an alcoholic. Oh, I had to name it, insert it, heard it, been there, done that. Had some really messed up ones too that I won't even talk about out loud. What got me approval growing up? Because again, you go back to that childhood conditioning. Hey, Chris, you got an A. That's awesome. Let's go to the arcade. Hey, Chris, you got an A. That's so, you're so smart. Well, what happens if Chris got a C? What happens if Chris got a D? Oh, you piece of shit. You're so fucking stupid. You don't apply yourself. Right? So we learn, oh man, I get approval. What can I do to get approval? How can I be approved by my friends and my peers on the playground? How can I be approved? Okay, so as long as I become that person for you, and I become that person for you, and I become that person for you, I was that person. I figured it out pretty fucking quick. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People. It was one of the first personal development books I read. Oh boy, did that unlock a lot of cool shit until it didn't. So here's another thing you can do. You can sit there and say, it's called the identity list. Who I think I am, who others expect me to be. Oh, Jesus Christ. If you don't write a page and a half of that, who I fear being. Who do I fear being? I fear being myself. It's so funny because I coach people and I usually connected with them on social media, and I see a version of them on social media and I see them in their videos and stuff like that. But I'm like, I know who you are. And so I'll see them the following week. And if we're working on something identity related, I'll be like, hey, I want you to be more like you instead of the person that you're pretending to be on camera. Like, oh, Chris, I can't do that. I would offend my customers and I would piss people off. And I'm like, so fucking what? So what? Big fucking deal. Well, my livelihood dependent, blah, 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 blah. So what happens if you have 5 customers and you're hanging on to them by being the person that you think you need to be for those 5 customers, but then you flip the fuck it switch. I love flipping the fuck it switch. Bam, fuck it switch. You want the fuck you sprinkler. And you're just yourself. And then all of a sudden you have 13 fucking customers. How about that? Have I seen that happen? Trust me, when I ditched the suit and tie speaking, when I started swearing, when I looked like this, yeah, all my revenue went down. All my speaking gigs went down. But guess what? In here, I felt so much better. I wasn't needing 75 external resources to make me feel whole and complete inside here. I didn't. It was okay. It was really okay. It was pretty cool. Yeah. So think about that. Think about that. The last one is, well, who do I fear being? I think I said that one. And who I secretly want to become. Like I know so many people who have cool personalities that, again, do not share them publicly. They're raunchy as fuck. I'm like, dude, you should be a stand-up comedian. Seriously, you should be a stand-up comedian. And I can do that. My husband would get pissed off. That, you know, and I went through that too. My wife, in 2 different occasions, we've been together for 24 years. I know she's not going to watch this. Maybe she's watching it, but if she does, I love you, sweetie. Told me that was a compulsive, basically we narrowed it down, that this is the term I put on it, compulsive motivationalist. Like I would be motivational to the bartender. I'd be motivational to the cash register person. It was like, I was just so excited about the fact that I figured out how to help people and unlock things for people that I did it all the time. My friends had to have an intervention with me and say, Chris, we just want you to be a smart ass rock and roll guy again. Like we feel like we can't tell you we're having a bad day because you're like, you had a bad day. What the fuck? And it was true. It was true. So yeah, who do I secretly want to become? Like I worked with this dude. He was so anal retentive. He could suck a fucking brick out of a wall with his asshole. Like so, I'm not even making it up. So dry, so boring. Chris, there's a situation we have. Literally talk like that. Went out to dinner with him one time. He had 1 beer. Funny as fuck, sarcastic, witty. And I'm like, Mark, can I tell you something? He says, yeah. I said, can you be this person at work? Oh my God, you are hilarious. Like his timing, everything was perfect. I'm like, seriously, you could do stand-up. So Christopher, I had to be professional at work. I'm like, who told you that? Like there's a lot of smart asses at work that are pretty successful. Like, don't be afraid to be you. Actually, I need to check on him. We got disconnected. He was here in California. We worked together and then he moved back, I think, to New York. All right. So how has this landed for you guys? What do you guys think? Nancy says here, massive overachiever, huge people pleaser. I bet you some of those people are pretty happy, Nancy. Robert says here, Christopher Rausch, you may find brainwave entertainment interesting. Brainwave. Can you send me a private message on that, Robert? That way I'll remember it. Brainwave entrainment. I don't know if it's entertainment or entrainment, but it's spelled entrainment there. Ray says here, preach, brother. Yeah, massive overachiever. Yeah, big time. Peacemaker, 100%. I was a peacemaker or a trouble causer. Ray says here, because I am the guy who has been blessed to have Christopher Rausch in my life for 10 years. Iron sharpens iron. Sometimes you need your BS called out. Yes, you do, Ray. You need your BS called out. You call me out of mine. Yeah, Jacqueline says here, been a huge people pleaser, doormat for a lot of years. No more. Feel free. Free at last. Free at last. Thank God Almighty. I am free at last. Amen. Nancy says here, my mom wanted me to be a good Christian like none, so I became the naughtiest Nancy I could possibly be. There you go. But you know, the pendulum goes, and the pendulum goes, and the pendulum. You got to find center. You got to find happy center. You got to find happy center. I find that more now than ever, I am a lot quieter. I'm a lot more introspective. There's so many things. I mean, I'm 57. So, I mean, there's been a lot of miles and a lot of years of experience and therapy and coaching and masterminds and personal development inundated my life with it because I've always been super curious about what makes us tick. And I sometimes think, I'm like, man, life is a little unfair because you get to be at a certain age and then you're like, oh, geez, if I knew what I knew now back when I was 35. And so that's why I like doing the show. That's why I like talking to people, because people have the wake up call. And then I just ask you guys to pay it forward. Just go out there and help other people. Share this message. Share your gift. Nancy's sharing her gift. Ray, you need to share your gift. You need to get out there and be advocating, feeling good about yourself, feeling healthy. Huh? Okay. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get into the next part. So childhood conditioning. Yes. Children absorb identity before they understand identity. Kids unconsciously ask, how do I stay loved? How do I stay safe? Who do I need to become? Massive. Identity is usually formed through praise, criticism, shame, comparison, abandonment, trauma, emotional neglect, expectations. Like, I didn't get my mother's approval or appreciation until she was 2 weeks before she died. But at least I got it. In a roundabout way. I had to put the pieces of the puzzle together, but I knew what she was saying. So common child identities are the caretaker. You're responsible for everyone emotionally and you neglect yourself. The perfectionist. Let's talk about that one for a second. Mistakes felt unsafe. How many perfectionists out there? Raise your hand. Raise your hand when you want to live. Who wants to hear Bon Jovi? Performance equals worth. Yeah, perfectionist. Jesus, man, that was so much of my life. I killed myself to be perfect. Now I tell people all the time, take imperfect action. Just had a new coaching client start with me, and Chris, I don't know where to start. I'm like, just start. I don't care what it is. Just make yourself breathe harder. I don't care what it is. Walk uphill, walk downhill, fucking walk in water, walk in mud, have sex, whatever it is, because they want to feel physically better. And so that's where it starts. It starts when you feel physically better, when you're clear-minded, right? What do we call the 5? Hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. I just had my vitamin numbers come back. My potassium, my zinc, my vitamin D. Actually, my vitamin D was a little high. My omegas were really low, which is thereby what's causing my inflammation. But something was high. My DHEA was super high. And I looked at my vitamins that I take, and it says take 2 a day, but not taking 2 a day anymore. So get your vitamin deficiency test done, ladies and gentlemen. Get heavy metals tests. Sometimes you got too much heavy metal in your head. The invisible one, that you learned basically that your needs were too much. You're too much, Nancy. You're too much, Ray. You're too much, Robert. You're too much, Chris. The other one was a rebel. Anger became your protection. Still dealing with some people right now. I'm like, oh man, that person is protecting themselves. And you start to see this. Not only do you see it in yourself, but here's the cool thing. You see it in your coworkers. You see it in your customers. You see it in the people you deal with. I see it in Cub Scouts parents. I could sit in a room literally with 20 other sets of parents. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Then I go up and I just, for the fucking giggles of it, I just start talking to them. And then somehow, and I insert into the conversation, I'm like, would you consider yourself an angry person? And you see their face, what would make you ask me that? I'm just curious. Just start asking random questions. It's pretty cool. Sometimes I get bounced back. People are like, what the fuck's wrong with that guy? I'm like, I'm just curious. The comedian. Yeah. The person who uses humor to survive the tension. Again, children adapt before they understand. So yeah, let's dig into the default identity. I know my buddy Scott Goyette would dig this part of the conversation because we have our default identity. Most people are still living from that inherited programming rather than conscious identity. I've always been this way. People like me don't have relationships. People like me don't have success. People like me don't have money. People like me don't have sobriety. People like me, right? I'm too old. I'm too damaged. It's not for me. And usually it's all that programming. Like you look at your parents. Like if you've got money issues now, look at what your parents, money's scarce. We don't have enough money. I went through that. Trust me. My coach told me that I was operating from scarcity mindset, and my therapist did that. And so I'm like, well, what's the difference between I have to make sure that I'm fiscally responsible and I'm saving money and I'm not spending things frivolously. I spend more money now and it comes in. And I don't feel guilty about it. I'm like, if it doesn't come in, I'll figure it out. I have figured it the fuck out my entire life. So yeah, I got a 69 Charger downstairs. I just had fuel injection put on it. I just had to have a top end done on it. So I spend money. I don't have that scarcity mindset anymore. Parents, their emotional expression, right? Could you tell what shape dad was in by the way he put his keys in the front door? Relationship patterns. My mom drove every single person in her life away except for me. So I had to be very, very cognizant and very, very deliberate in reading, How to Win Friends and Influence People. All these different books to understand how relationships truly worked, how to listen more than I talked, how to have empathy and compassion and understanding and not judgment. And I'll go, wait, you stupid motherfucker. Like, no, you don't say that to people, Chris. Your mom did. And guess what? Drove every single person away. So now you got to shut up and go, There's that autumn. And there's still, I call it street Chris. There's still that person inside of me. Trust me, still to this day, 57 years old, I usually can't say the first thing that comes to my mind because it's, ooh. So there is that delicate balance between being who you really are and then having to sit there and pump the brakes. I call it pump the brakes and go, or push in the clutch. If you guys ever driven with stick shift, push in the clutch. And that's when your car kind of rolls for a second instead of lunges forward. Because there's still that opportunity for me to do that. Because sometimes we get triggered, and that's a good thing to look at in your life. What are your emotional triggers? What causes you to get triggered, to feel like a victim, to feel like you're not heard, to feel you're not valued, to feel you're not, understood? Being misunderstood is like my biggest thing. When I feel misunderstood, I feel so frustrated, and I can go into a tailspin pretty quick. So I sit there and say, okay, what am I making this to mean about me? What part of this do I need to be understood about? And maybe this moment isn't the right moment, but I'm going to come back to this moment and talk to my wife or talk to my friend or talk to my customer, whatever it might be, and sit there and say, okay, in that moment, I need to share with you, this is how I was feeling. And this is how I think you're seeing it. So I need to understand from you, in your words, not my assumptions, what's going on. And in school, we had to fit in, comparison becomes a part of our identity. Oh, I'm not like Sally. I'm not like Jeff. I'm not like Bill. I'm not like da. Oh, I'm not enough. I'm not worthy. If I only had that, then I would be happy. Right? Then we can also look at our identity as far as religion and culture. Like, where did you grow up? What ethnicity? What sexual orientation? All those different things. Obedience, guilt. Oh man, if I didn't follow the Bible, there's so much in that. So yeah. This may apply to you if you constantly talk yourself out of opportunities, if you label yourself negatively, if you feel stuck in old patterns, if your inner self-talk sounds limiting. So you need to sit there and think about this in terms of questions. You need to write these down. Which beliefs did I inherit? That money's scarce, that people suck, that you can't trust people. I was just helping somebody recently about that. I just don't trust people, Chris. I'm like, I get it. I'm fucking more cynical than I ever been. I don't know I told my wife this the other night. I tell her repeatedly lately, I don't know what to trust. I don't know what to believe. And it's frightening and it's scary and it's frustrating. Can I trust that news article? Can I trust that meme? Can I trust that video? I don't fucking know anymore. I'm constantly looking for holes in stuff. Like when I watch movies, it is so frustrating to me. And I want to do plant medicine or something, because I would be honest with you guys. I watch movies and I'm like, well, that's bullshit. Or they did this. Or I can't, like they tell you that a movie is to suspend your belief of reality for a couple of hours. And my brain just goes, is that real? Is that real? That's not real. That one would happen. How in the fuck did they get there? How I love the scenes where it's been 2 weeks and the fucking guy still has stubble. I'm like, why can't they give the guy a fucking beard? Realistically, come on, really? You stupid motherfuckers. I'm like, Chris, it's a movie. It's a movie. It's okay. So yes. So then we can look at our identity. Sorry, guys, there's a lot to cover. Our role-based identity. Again, we kind of talked about it here before, but parent, spouse, employee, entrepreneur, provider, leader, helper, coach. So who are you without that role? I saw this really sad video of this guy that is trying to start his YouTube channel. And he's like, man, he goes, I came to the realization that I don't know who I am anymore. This was recent. And I just felt sad for him. I actually commented on his thing. And like, if you need somebody to talk to, he's like, I've always known to be this person. And it always gave me validation and worth and all this stuff. And now I'm just Bob. Can't remember what his name was. I think it was Tim. It was 3 letters. So who are you without that role? And can you be okay with that? the corporate executive, parent, athlete, caregiver. Oh, I'm seeing people that are now, their kids are off to college and now their parents are getting Alzheimer's and dementia. Like, who am I? I was went to be this caregiver, now I'm this caregiver. When is going to be my turn? Right? Feeling that sense of lack and that sense of disappointment. Right? So then there's also our pain-based identity, right? Abandonment identity, right? You expect rejection. I can't count how many people, like, the relation, I'm never going to find the right person. Like, why? Oh, I've been rejected all my life. I'm like, maybe a setback is a setup for a comeback. Les Brown said that. I can tell you that story about Les Brown, but I'm going to shut up about that. Trauma identity. So you could think about this in terms of, this happened to me, or this is who I am forever. And so if you sabotage healthy relationships, if you constantly expect rejection, if your past dominates your present, or if healing feels threatening, ask yourself, is this worth it? Is this working in my best favor? And if it isn't, get therapy, get help, talk to somebody. Consider plant-based medicine. Find somebody who is good at it and do that. I've done some of it. I know that it'll be called to me when I'm ready for it. And then you have achievement-based identity, right? The hustler, you can't relax. The performer, you need praise. The overworker avoids emotions through productivity. So when we look at all of it today, the modern identity crisis, and I've talked about it here on the show quite a bit, AI is replacing jobs. And if you've kept up on this, they're talking about income, where you automatically get income. But the people that are going to be losing their jobs, the big thing is not only losing their income, is losing who they are. Like, what kind of depressive situation is that going to create for society and humanity? So I really encourage you, if you know somebody who might be struggling, have them listen to this episode and next week's episode. Have them go back and listen to the self-sabotage episode, because really it's a three-parter. Social media comparison. God, so many people, oh, so-and-so. I'm like, I see people all the time. I see people arguing and then they go back to arguing. And I'm like, everybody's going to see that one little moment and think, oh, they're such a happy family on vacation. I'm like, no, they've been fucking yelling at each other for the last 20 minutes. I've been watching with them. Algorithms shaping your beliefs. I watch this. If I'm on TikTok, I look at most of my social media is music, because I love music. But man, if I watch a video for too long, all of a sudden, if I look at a fucking scrambled bacon and eggs tater tot thing, all of a sudden I've got all sorts of cool, delicious things that make my mouth water in my TikTok feed or my Instagram feed. The hustle culture. That's what I'm loving about Gen Z, is they're like, you know what? You're bullshit about fucking going to school. The thing that's kind of sad about Gen Z is they're not having sex and they're not having kids. So there's a whole subject that I'm going to go down the rabbit hole with here. I'm going to talk about this whole male loneliness pattern, and also incels. They're not having sex. I'm seeing these podcasts. I'm doing some research on it right now, where women not having sex. They don't need men. It's like this whole kind of thing that's happening, which is scary. This is really scary. I mean, we need to procreate, like, have some sex. It's good. It's good for you. Even when it's just with yourself, like, yeah, do that. Social identity people, like, it's all based on your confidence, your healing, your spirituality. So yes. So look at this as the final part of this part 1 series is okay, who have I become? And I want you to journal this or write this down. Who did I survive? Who did I survive to fucking, let me say this again. I wrote it weird. Who did survival require me to become? Who did survival require me to become? What identities am I carrying? Which identities still serve me? Which feel heavy? Which version of me is asking to evolve? And I know people are like, oh, I have to do this. I feel responsible. Okay, ask yourself, dig deeper into that. Are you communicating your needs? I'm coaching a few people right now. They're really challenged with communicating their needs with their spouses, with their kids, with their business partners, with their employees, with their employers. Oh, I feel guilty. I feel like I'm, what's the big one right now? Being selfish. I'm like, how do you feel you're operating on a scale of 1 to 5? Well, I feel like I'm doing about a 2. I'm like, your self-love, 1 to 5. 1. How much do you love other people? 5. I'm like, how much do you think you're giving to other people? 5. No, you're giving them a 1 or a 2. So just imagine you pour into your cup. It's not being selfish, it's self-love. And you start drawing some boundaries, right? You start looking at your values. Nancy knows this from the group coaching, and I do it with all my clients. Look at our values. We look at our tolerations. We set boundaries. I will no longer tolerate people speaking down to me. I will no longer accept somebody yelling at me. I personally don't. You fucking yell at me, we're done. Even my wife, she gets sometimes a little frustrated. I'm like, let's carry this conversation on when you're not so, you're operating from up here. That's not doing us any good. Not doing us any good, because you're going to say shit that's irreparable, wherever you want to say it. And we had a situation, just being truthful with you guys, a couple of months ago, 3 months ago. And I feel bad for her. Perimenopausal period, all sorts of things. She's already a very passionate person, but some shit rolled off the tongue. And I was like, okay, I need to not make that about me. I need to pause here for a second. I need to Teflon. Right, Nancy? I had a Teflon. Ooh, I could see those words bouncing off of me and sliding off. And then I had to go back to her. I'm like, the stuff you said really, really hurt my feelings. And periodically we have that conversation. I'm like, I'm still like reeling from some of that stuff. And I know you were heated, and I know there's some partial truth in it, but got to be careful. But I sat there and said, no. Nobody's going to talk to me like that, because guess what? It triggered me into the relationship I have with my mom. And I really didn't have the balls or the courage or the wherewithal to stand up and say, Mom, you can't call me a stupid goddamn motherfucker anymore, which she did. Right? So you're not broken. You're just carrying an identity that you were never meant to keep forever. Okay? So can I give you a sneak peek about next week? Can I give you a sneak peek? What do you guys think? I'm just looking at my notes. Right. Does anybody know what DGAF means? Right. Don't give a fuck. DGAF. Like, give a fuck for the right fucks. Like, I've got a lot of fucks to give. You should have some fucks to give. Keep some fucks for yourself. Nancy says here, same as eating popcorn, Twizzlers without smoking marijuana first. Yeah, Jacqueline says here, Nancy became a bad girl to get back at her mom. I feel her pain. Right. And now she's a good girl. Now she's setting the example for other to follow. So let me see if I've got my notes. I know I put them somewhere. I'm not sure if I put them here. So I think next week we're going to talk about why change feels scary. We're going to talk about reconnecting to your true self. We're going to talk about grieving old identities. Ooh, that's a big one. That's a big one. I had to do that, man. I was like, man, I just wish I was the person I was before. And that person's gone. That person that's gone. That's an old life. That is a past life of mine. And it feels uncertain. It feels uncomfortable. And I wish that sometimes I could go do it again and over, and I could, all those different things, but you can't. Releasing old beliefs, right? We have to release the belief that we're not good enough. It's not serving you guys anymore. We have to build a conscious identity, right? So what do we build a conscious identity around? Got to let people misunderstand us. We're going to talk about that. That may sound kind of weird, and I'm doing that on purpose. And then talk about, who am I becoming? Who am I becoming? Oh, my monitor just did some weird shit. So there you have it. 58 minutes. Oh, I was going like crazy, wasn't I? Yeah. And it's all because I love you guys. And you are enough. You're more than enough. You're more than enough. You have gifts to give. So give yourself a big fat fucking hug. Give yourself a big hug and make a decision right here and right now as you're listening to this, where you're listening live, you're listening on the podcast tomorrow, whatever it might be, at whatever point in your life you're at. If this resonates with you, if it sticks a little, oh, geez, that's uncomfortable. Just make a decision for yourself that this is the day you decided to no longer live in that old identity. This is the day you decide to start accepting and demanding more for yourself and not feeling guilty about it. This is the day you decide to start speaking up for yourself and stop being a doormat. This is the day where you wake up tomorrow and you say, you know what? What am I excited about? What am I going to be intentional about? What am I grateful for? I got somebody doing that right now. They are so focused on what's wrong in the world. And I'm like, I need you to focus on what's right. Instead of looking at, I've helped people with this too, the dividedness. We're more of the fucking same than we are different. Start looking for the commonalities. And I will tell you this, I'm going to get on my soapbox here for a second because I can. The data centers, the artificial intelligence, I've been watching this and seeing what's going on. They're building these acres upon acres of data centers, and they're stealing water, our drinking resource that keeps us alive. They're stealing water. There is so much going on with data centers. You guys need to please start going to your city council meetings. Start looking at who you're voting for and seeing if they're on special interest for flock cameras, FLOCK. These cameras are being put up all over the place. They're by billionaires. They're following every fucking single move that we're making. They're doing facial recognition. In some respects, I could see positives, but there are so many negatives. The data centers, I'm watching people get into their city council meetings in rural areas. There was a thing in Utah, all over the place. They're putting in these on there. Oh, they're bringing jobs. And I got a friend of mine who's in the construction business. He's a truck hauler. He's like, Chris, man, it is great. I am hauling sand because they're making the sand into concrete. They're building. He's like, oh, I'm making so much money hand over fist. I'm like, what's going to happen when that's gone? What's going to happen when that's gone? What's going to happen when they have driverless trucks? They're already doing that in Texas. But please, guys, I don't care who you think you are, how intelligent you think you are. Find out where your local city council meetings. Sometimes you have what's called a ward. Like I have, it sounds like a prison, but like here in Riverside County, I'm in Ward 5. So the city council person for this ward has meetings, public meetings. You need to go to these. I don't care if you've never been to them any before. Start doing research because we need to all stand up against these data centers, and people are doing it. People are fucking getting visceral. I saw a city council meeting where people were standing up and saying, no, we're not going to do this data center. And the city council person laughed and said, like, called him names or something like that. It was ridiculous. Now that guy's getting death threats. I don't agree with death threats, but people are angrily saying, no, we're not going to accept this. And you could choose to be complacent and say, oh, what does one voice do? But watch. There's going to be some big stuff, because if we don't get a hold of these data centers, we don't get a hold of this artificial intelligence, and we don't say no, it's going to take over. It's already doing it. Like politics and government won't have any impact anymore because 5 people, all these AI people, chat and Grok and all these different things, those guys are going to have us all by the cojones, all by the cooch. And it's not going to be any, because they're going to hold all of the information they already do. So we all together fucking stop with the division and who voted for who. Like, we need to actively show up and bombard our local politicians. Like, I'm seeing police. I just saw something yesterday. They couldn't have been made up. I'm always asking, is it real or not? These police used false propagation, I guess, just to get into this person's house. We heard there's a suicide threat, and they busted in the door. Long story short, you can go search this. They took this innocent lady and pounded her head on the fucking thing, and then said, oh, you came after us. But they're like, hey guys, there's cameras all over the place. Like, oh, and then they changed their story. Like, we got to make sure that we're electing the right people into office. Like, it's not just about who's the president and who's the vice, like, who is your city council person? Who's your sheriff? Who's your school administrator? All these people, like, really, really take the time. Really, really, please, I'm begging you. I have a 9-year-old kid that I want him to inherit a great world. And I am personally, aside from everything I shared tonight, I'm scared to death of what this world is becoming. So together, you and I need to do these things and stand up for these people and get the right people, like, demand it. I won't even get started what I've seen with automobiles lately, like how that's being controlled. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm a realist, but man, there's some weird shit that's going down. So together we can all make a difference. Together we lock arm in arm and say, hey, man, I love you. Hey, lady, I love you. Hey, let's march forward. No matter what your sexual orientation is, no matter what your religious belief is, no matter who you vote for, no matter what label fucking society puts on you. Like, love one another. Say hi to one another. Let people merge in the fucking lane. Stop being in such a hurry to get to someplace that you don't even want to be. You dig? Like, people get mad when they're stuck behind a train. Like, my wife does that. I'm like, so spend that time thinking, meditating. Like, what am I excited about? Like, when I'm in the car with my son, I'm like, we just start having a conversation. It's like 15-minute train. I got 15 minutes. I'm not going anywhere. It's not going to change me being frustrated or pissed off that I live near trains. None of that changes, but I have 15 minutes to sit there and enjoy my life and my moments. Enjoy your life and your moments. Stand up for what's right and what's fair, ladies and gentlemen. Have a purpose, have a mission, so that when you die, you can look back on your life and say, fuck, I crushed it. I kicked ass. It may have been 40 years. It may have been 50 years. It may have taken 60 years for me to get my head out of my ass and get real with things. But you get to live the rest of your life every single day intentionally and in gratitude and in love. And you take care of yourself and you take care of people that are hurting in your community. And you fight, you do all these things. And guess what? You don't need all that external validation, because who you are is a good person, a great person. And then other people see that. And if those people can't get with the program and they call you names or think you're stupid or whatever it is, you wish them all the best. You say, I love you. I wish you all the best. I hope you have an amazing life. But guess what? I'm on this band now. I'm on the band of love. I'm on the band of unity. I'm on the band of making a difference for the kids that are going to grow up and inherit this world, the babies that are being born right now. We don't want them to get into high school and look back and go, fuck, those people in 2026 really screwed the pooch. Let's not screw the pooch. All right. I love you guys. Please share this out. Not only just share it on social media, but call somebody and say, hey, man, I know you've been in trouble. I know you've been hurting. You know, let's go back and watch this episode together. Let's hold each other accountable. Let's go to a group therapy thing. Let's get into Chris's group coaching program. Let's do something. But to continue doing what you've always done, you will continue to get what you've always got. I get to go be a dad right now. I love you guys. Peace out for the Raw Unscripted Nation.